Are you totally done with this pandemic? You are not alone. Some tips ahead on burnout. One of the things that I've been noticing as a therapist that specializes in burnout, it's almost impossible to live in this heightened state of anxiety day in and day out. I'm Allie Kochert. I'm a therapist that specializes in treating burnout. I work with helpers and healers and people in ministry to help reclaim their power, purpose, and peace. One of the things I tell folks about the heightened sense of anxiety and sort of chronic stress that has been happening on a collective level is that it's really normal to feel really worn out and burned out. We are not meant to be in a heightened level of stress. Our brains evolved not to live in chronic stress. Stress was one of those things that happened as a fight or flight or freeze situation in response to threat to ourselves or the people around us in our small clans that we lived in for millennia. So our brains actually developed to be really sensitive to threat. Unfortunately, these days, we are bombarded by what seems like threatening material, whether it be on social media or from people that you talk to, or on the news, the 24-hour news cycle that can be really toxic to our stress response. When it comes to our own stress, we have to be really careful about how that's really affecting us physiologically. Our stress response is not meant to be on constant high alert. That's why we see such chronic pain and chronic issues with our bodies, is in part because of this sense of chronic stress. Because we've been in this pandemic time for 18, 20 months, some of us, we need to be really careful about our own body self-care, our own ability to center in on how the stress is affecting our bodies and our stress response. If we're feeling worn out and weary and burned out, physically look at what is our stress response is affecting mind and body. So people talk a lot about resilience and how it's related to burnout. One of the things that we notice with resilience and people who are more resilient in face of the stressors is that they have strong social supports. This research doesn't take into account pandemic times when we are actually less connected to people and less involved with social engagement because we have to keep each other safe and be separate. That's why we have to be extra careful about maintaining our support system during this time. We have to be really careful how to maintain our connection and feeling a support system despite having to separate ourselves from folks or feel less connected because we have to wear masks or social distancing and that kind of thing. It's proven that if we have strong social support systems, our mind and bodies tend to be more resilient, tend to be able to combat stress and be able to process stress more efficiently and more effectively. This can be seen both, in our heart rates, variability, our ability to calm our body state in light of a stressor, and it makes it so that we can bounce back from triggers or activated states a lot faster. One of the things, if you're feeling weary or worn out, that tends to be you're less apt to bounce back if you're feeling really worn down. So I encourage you to look at your social supports. Who is in your circle that you're leaning on? Who is there to hold you? Physically, it could be physically, but it could be, emotionally. Where are you feeling held and fed? And has that changed? Look at it objectively when you look at your life trajectory in the last couple years. Has that changed? Has your social support system changed, and in what way? And then where can you reclaim a sense of community? Where can you reclaim a sense of connection, deep connection, and that you feel safe and secure in those relationships? I hope that was helpful today, and those tips to look again at why it is that we feel so worn out and weary, and one way to kind of reconnect to our resiliency. If you like this video, please subscribe. I have them coming along the pipe here. There's also past videos that may be beneficial to you or helpful, and like this video, and that helps me come up on people's feeds faster, and maybe be more helpful to more people. Take care.